one simple thing. And that simple thing is an idea. And an idea is what changed my life and put me where I am here today. So a lot of times when I'm speaking to people, people often ask me, say, Jit, why do you run conferences like this? Where you get hundreds of people, where you get world-class speakers, and no one pays a cent to be here, and no one gets paid a cent to stand here and speak. And there's like, what's the inspiration behind it? Why do you do something like that? And the answer to that question is really quite easy. It's a simple answer. Like a lot of people, I've had my ups and downs in life. There was a time in my life when everything was going according to plan. And then there was a point in time in my life where in a snap of a finger, things just kept going downwards. The more I felt like I had hit rock bottom, the more I realized that there was a deeper hole to go into. So just a few short years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, I had no career aspirations. Financially, I was not doing well. I was going through a separation, and life just felt like it had no purpose. And that was the only question in my mind. What is the purpose of life? And the second question was, why me? Why is this happening to me? I'm a nice guy. I do good things. Why do bad things happen to good people? These two questions, what is the purpose of life and why me, are very dangerous questions to ask when you're not in the right state of mind. And people around me noticed that. And this is when someone came up to me and said, Jit, this is not you. Maybe you should seek some help. So I started Googling, and that's what most of us do, right? When we don't have answers, we start Googling. So I started Googling. I say, hey, you know what? This person is right. I do need some help to change the way I was thinking, because the questions that I was asking were not healthy. They were not empowering questions, but I did not know what were the right questions to ask. So I started Googling personal development seminars. Whole lot of things came up. Unfortunately, I could not afford any of them because financially I was not doing well. So someone recommended me. Ever heard of this guy called Tony Robbins? Yep. So someone recommended me. Say, you know what, you should check out Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. It's really good. It's life-changing. Millions of people all over the world are being changed and transformed for the better. So I started Googling, and I realized that they were right. Thousands and thousands of testimonials of people just saying, this is good. And I made a decision that I want to learn from Tony Robbins that day. Then as I scrolled lower, I realized there was a big problem. And the problem was, the seminar cost a lot of money. The seminar cost $1,000. For someone who could not afford 2 meals a day, $1,000 is a lot of money. And I could not afford that. And $1,000 for the ticket did not include flight to Sydney, accommodation, and food. But I asked myself, if I can't go to Tony Robbins, what can I do to bring Tony Robbins to me? And I did something that I don't normally do. I stepped into Kinokuniya. I avoided the comic book section because that's really where you'll find me all the time. And I went to this magical aisle called the self-help aisle. You know that space where we don't want to be seen in? At least that was my thought, that I don't want to be caught in a self-help aisle because that's for people with problems. But when I made that decision, I noticed that when I stepped into the self-help aisle, there were a lot of happy people there, a lot of smiling people. And that's when I realized these are people who valued knowledge, people who valued ideas and perspective. So I picked up a few books. Obviously, one of the books was Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within, and I picked up a few other books, and I started making it a conscious habit to read books. And what I realized was this: books are filled with ideas. filled with ideas to change our perspective. And when we change from the inside, the world on the outside changes with us. So in my discovery of personal development, an idea changed my life. And that idea was investing in personal development.